what's up, Dean?
What's up, Chris?
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. Sorry about the internet situation yesterday. I guess the spectrum was down.
By the way, you sound so much better today.
Uh, nice and clear, not all jerky all over the place.
So yeah. So what service do you use in California?
Spectrum. You
Spec-
either get that or AT&T, and AT&T is even worse.
Yeah, we use Comcast and Xfinity over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now, Chris, you were originally from. Well, I'm sorry. You're from the East Coast and the West Coast.
Well, I'm originally from the East Coast. I'm New Yorker, born and raised in New York. But I live mainly in Los Angeles. I've been out here for about 16 years now. So yeah, I guess it's about 50-50 almost.
And I mean, I love the West Coast, the weather. And I think I asked you this before, but you have to throw away one place, New York, LA. What would you choose?
Oh man, yeah, you did ask me that last time. It's really tough, man. Like I said, I think the vibe and the people of the East Coast and New York and the weather of the West Coast, if we could just put those both in one state together, everything would be groovy. But yeah, I don't know, man.
It may make it kind of into a hybrid strain, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I get it. I totally get it. So, you know what's really cool, Chris? I mean, here's the thing. Every time I have a discussion or talk to people, I mean, obviously, I like creative people, people that have eclectic backgrounds, just different, unique kind of backgrounds.
Oh, so I
So,
should probably hang up right now then.
no. Actually, I think I need to disconnect. So, what I like about what you're doing is, I mean, you started out as a bass player.
Mhm.
You played in rock bands, you toured the world, I mean, what were some of the highlights in your band career, that what you worked as a working musician? Like, what are some of those highlights?
Oh yeah, as a songwriter, I was pretty proud of a song I did that became the anthem for the New York Giants, Rangers, and Knicks called "Let's Go" New York, and I got to co-write that song with Harley Flanagan, who's of Cro-Mag's fame, New York hardcore guy, and also Ray Castoldi, who's the organist and music director for all the New York teams, the Giants, the Rangers, and the Knicks. So it's pretty cool to have a song that we did that was playing at all the games and their stadiums. That was cool. Obviously, getting to tour around. I've got to tour with Scorpions and Chris Cornell, a bunch of bands that I listened to growing up and really liked, and then got to play with those guys. It was cool. Had my music in a lot of different video games, ad campaigns, things like that. So yeah, all exciting stuff.
So, I mean, playing with those bands is pretty cool. I mean, definitely, and I grew up with those bands as well. Like, anything that you like kind of took away touring with like a bigger band, it's like, wow, that was pretty cool. I remember that. I'll do that.
Uh, yeah, I mean, every time you, just like with anything, you watch someone who's a master of their craft, like really doing it at the highest level, and you definitely learn things from them, just how they carry themselves on stage, to their setup and the equipment that they're using, just how they run their operations, like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, the people they have working for them. Yeah, well-oiled machine.
I agree, Chris. It is a well-oiled machine, and that's kind of what I've learned is, coming from the music background myself, and working with smaller bands that went on to perform alongside with bigger artists.
Mhm.
As you said, just the professionalism, the well-oiled machine. It's amazing to me how they remain creative and edgy,
Mhm.
but very business.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the whole partying like a rock star thing. I mean, sure it happens, but it's a facade. Like it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? A put on, a smoke and mirrors. Everyone that's at that level, the top level, those guys are straight businessmen. They're really professional about what they're doing. They might seem like a crazy, fun time and and all that, but they got their head on their shoulders, and they're doing it.
I agree. It is a facade, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, sure, you had artists engage in, those different, practices and behavior,
Mhm.
but it didn't rule the act. I mean, because
Exactly.
if that lifestyle ruled the act, they would never be where they were.
And you see it happen to plenty of bands. They want to emulate that. They think that's how you have to be. And then those are the guys who are strung out. They're not successful. They're not going on tour. They're not operating as a business and actually making money in the music business, which is a whole another animal than the creative side. So you got to have both. You got to have the creative, and you also have to have the business mentality and work with the right people to really make it happen.
So you transitioned from a bass player performing in rock bands
Mhm.
to a tattoo artist.
I did, yeah.
Now, have you always been into tattoos?
I've always been into tattoos. I've always had tattoos. I got my first one when I was 16, and at the time there wasn't like Miami ink, and it wasn't as popular and cool as it was today. So back then it was kind of just like, oh wow, you got a tattoo. That's pretty crazy. And I just always liked the art form of it. I've always been, a painter. Always liked, doing that style and that kind of art. And kind of goes hand in hand with being a musician. I mean, a lot of musicians have tattoos. It's just another way to express yourself creatively. Um, kind of, decorate your temple, so to speak. Have something that no one else has on your arm. It's a stamp, like a signature stamp for yourself.
Now, how many tattoos do you have? Are you completely covered?
Oh yeah, I consider it one. I got everything.
Wow. So you have your arms, your back,
Arms, my back, my legs.
stomach.
Not my stomach. I will though, but I just I don't have time. But when I'll get to it.
How about your face?
No, I won't do that. I'll leave the neck, the face, and the hands alone. I could still wear a business suit, and you would never know.
Now, do you do face tattoos for people?
I would, but I would only do it on the condition that they're already, heavily tattooed. They have their arms done. They maybe have their backs done. Not some 18-year-old kid who's getting their first tattoo. Because right now it's kind of a big trend, right? Like the mumble rappers, like Little Xan and Little Pump or Peep. I don't know, but they got like or Always Tired, like Post Malone. That's cool, but those guys are set in their career. They already have, a good amount of money. They're established. They can kind of do what they want. But when you're 18 and, just getting out of college and you have like a little, I don't know, teardrop or a knife coming down here, it's going to be kind of hard to get a job.
I agree. Now, like when you started, I mean, first of all, as a tattoo artist,
Mhm.
like how do you practice?
You practice on people. It's it's like, and you learn from your mistakes. I was really lucky. I got to do an apprenticeship actually with Greg James, who's a very famous tattoo artist. He did all of Motley Crue's tattoos, Ozzy Osbourne's tattoos. Like in the 80s, he was like the rock and roll tattoo guy to go to. And I learned from him. And I did my first tattoo on one of my best friends, Chad Cherry, who's from the band The Las Vegas. And then I wound up sleeving him out now, but I remember that first one. I was sweating bullets. I was pretty nervous. Turned out pretty good though. Still looks good today. But yeah, I think if you have someone who knows what they're doing, showing you what to do, because there was a long buildup of learning things before I actually did it. That's the way to go about it. Not just go on Amazon and buy some cheap shit and hope for the best, because you wind up scarring and losing a lot of friends that way.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought about that. I mean, how does a tattoo artist practice? I mean, does he start on a sketch pad? I mean, I even think about that when I watch the Olympics. I mean, right? I mean, when you watch these snowboarders or these skiers, I mean, they do these crazy things like that. It's like, well, how do you practice that?
Yeah, I mean, like a professional skateboarder, think how many bones they've broken. Like Tony Hawk, he's probably broken like every bone in his body at least twice trying to, nail that 1080 or whatever his move is. same with this. It's, except your mistakes are on people for life. So, and there's always something you can do to fix it up later or cover it up, as you progress, but you have to get over that fear initially and just go for it and, do your best and try to get better with each one that you do.
I mean, be kind of funny. I mean, your first client, you know, he wants a tattoo, and you're like, guess what? You're my first client.
Oh yeah.
I mean, imagine going to a doctor.
For
Yeah. Well, you're the first person. I got the knife, and congratulations, you're the first person.
Yep. No, good to practice on, a friend that maybe doesn't care as much, not someone who's going to be super picky about their tattoo and want everything to be perfect. Because your first time, no matter who you are, it's nothing like drawing. It's kind of like welding. It's you're not going to be perfect. So
Now, I mean, ironically, I do not have a tattoo, so it's crazy.
oh, come on down.
I know it's like talk. I mean, talking through this, I'm like, I really want to get a tattoo, but honestly, I never. I mean, I always liked them. I think they look really cool. I think they add a very cool dynamic. I just never got around to get one. But here's the thing. I understand like there's large needles, there's small needles.
Sure.
Does it hurt more to be tattooed with a large or small needle?
I would say a smaller needle would probably hurt more. And the reason being, when you have a larger needle, like a shading needle or a color needle, we call them a magnum, and they look kind of like a paintbrush. They're kind of spread out. There's more surface area, so it doesn't hurt as bad. But when it's like a really fine point and it's small for like lining, that's a little more stingy, but it all fucking hurts, dude.
Now, I mean, I think that is one of the things that prevented me. I mean, literally, I mean, I'm just thinking, wow, does this hurt? I mean, because when it comes, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say everyone has different pain tolerances too. It's, one guy, like you get it here on your arm and it feels like nothing. The next guy might be jumping out of the chair. It depends on the person too.
Chris, you're absolutely right. In fact, when I have when my dentist works on me, like with a cavity, I mean, he'll literally, this is no joke, no exaggeration. So my dentist will work with me. We all have cavities, right?
Sure.
So I'll put a filling in and they'll put some Novocaine in. And then you know how like they wait maybe like 5 minutes later for the Novocaine to set in, and then they come back for another round and they give you another Novocaine. So he'll come and be like, so come in the second time. He's like, how are you feeling? Can you feel this? I'm like, nope, feel good. All right, open your mouth, starts drilling. And then he'll see my body kind of react. He's like, wow. He's like, all right, let me give you some more Novocaine. Gives me some Novocaine. Comes back another 2 minutes. Once again, 3 rounds of Novocaine. He starts working on my mouth and he sees me start tensing up. And he's like, you still feel it? And I do. And then he just gets the Novocaine. He's like, bang, bang.
Bring the book.
Right. Until like my whole face, I can't even feel my face.
Just swollen, yeah.
So now when I come in, he just knows, okay, Dean Kramer's coming in here. Like, let's spend the first 10 minutes, like making this guy like numb where he can't feel his brain.
Yeah.
But I said to him, is that normal? Like, is this pain tolerance thing normal? He goes, oh no, absolutely. He goes, listen, I have people like you where I got to Novocaine them up. And I have other people where it's like one shot and they don't feel anything.
Yep. Same for us too. And everyone has different types of skin too. Some people, their skin, like the needle goes in nice and easy, like butter, and it looks great. Other people, it's like tattooing a football and you have to really, crank it up to get it in there. So just like him, it's like you got to learn to work with different people and to make the outcome the best.
Now, how do you feel about working on customers who aren't in their right mind? I mean, maybe they're intoxicated, maybe they've taken something and what do you do in that situation?
I wouldn't do it. There's too much liability with that. And, you don't want someone to get something that they might regret later. You have to be in a good mental state to get a tattoo and know that you really want it. It's for life. You're committing to it. And if you're, drunk or high off your ass, it's not a good time to do it.
Now, what happens if you make a mistake?
I mean, it does happen, but if you're a good tattoo artist, you usually are able to quickly correct the mistake and cover it up to the point that no one would notice. I've been very fortunate. I've never had anything go terribly wrong, but I know other people that I worked with before. They have horror stories like they put a stencil on backwards and then the design was backwards or something like that. The guy looked in the mirror and thought it was right, but
Right.
there's always something you can do. If you're working with a good artist who has experience, there shouldn't be really any terrible blunders at all.
Now, did you, speaking about pain tolerance, have you ever worked on someone and they cried?
Oh yeah, I'm
Wow.
not going to name any names, but yeah, it's happened.
I'd probably be the one that cries.
Right. It's always the big biker kind of guys who think the toughest. Women are always they're the toughest. They'll sit there for 10 hours and get it all done like it's nothing, and then the guy who's just like, yeah, all macho, he's like, ow, ow.
It's not the first time I heard women are tougher. Once again, you're on the massage table
They're
and
no joke.
oh yeah, so again, once again, it's not the first time I heard women are tougher. I'm on the massage table, female masseuse working on my back, doing a deep tissue sport massage, and I told her to lighten up, and she's like, "Are you serious? Lighten up? Are you?" I work with like little girls who could take more pain than you. I'm like, wow. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, right.
So now, what are some of the most parts on your body that would probably be a lot more painful when you're getting inked?
Oh, like the areas that would hurt more to get tattooed.
Yeah.
Definitely, I would say the two most painful areas for most people would be either your ribs or the top of your feet. Uh, the elbows kind of suck too, the wrists, but definitely the ribs and the top of the feet, I would say, are, from what I've seen, the top two most painful spots to get work done.
Because they're the more bony, thin skin areas, right?
More bony, more thin skin. Especially the top of the feet, your skin is really thin. You got to be really delicate and careful so you don't damage the skin or get what's called a blowout. If the needle goes too deep, the ink shoots everywhere under the skin. It looks like a big cloudy mess. So you don't want to do that.
And now, and you mentioned before, I mean, I do. I mean, I do see once in a while, not a lot. I'm walking in the store and I'll see someone with a face tattoo,
Mhm.
and it works on celebrities who kind of, you know, create for a living. I mean, listen, artists like Post Malone
Mhm.
and Lil Wayne, I mean, they're never going to get regular, normal jobs.
No, and they've already established themselves to the point that they don't have to.
Right. And so it is true. When I see someone with a face tattoo, I'm just like, they've immediately disengaged themselves in society. I mean, they can't get out there. I mean, just it's tough for them to get jobs. They'll be looked at. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I mean,
Unfortunately, that's like the way it is right now. At least in our society of today, hand tattoos, face tattoos, they're not easily coverable in like a public setting, and not everyone. I mean, tattoos have grown so much even in the last 20 years in terms of being acceptable and mainstream, but there's still like a good amount of people that's off-putting to them or scary to them, or they have a lot of judgment with it. Hopefully down the road, just like back in the day, you get a tattoo on your arm and that was a taboo crazy thing. I'm sure in 50 years from now, when a bunch of people have face tattoos, it's not going to be as big of a deal as it is today. But that's a good ways off. And I don't know. I just think it's good to be able to have tattoos that you like and you can show off when you want to, but it's also good to be able to hide them and cover them when you want to as well. That's just my take on it. Other people have different opinions though.
Now, do you recommend taking painkillers before getting tattooed?
I don't. And also the numbing cream too. I have a lot of people ask me, oh, should we put some numbing cream on it? And I always advise against it. It makes the skin harder to work on. It wears off quick anyway, kind of like your Novocaine, it seems.
Right.
And it's just kind of a waste of time. You have to let it sit for 45 minutes and it doesn't really even help that much. It's still going to hurt. So it's like, if you want this tattoo, you just got to know, okay, it's going to hurt, but it's going to be over soon enough. And then you have a pretty cool piece of art on you. Got to earn it.
You got to earn it. Has there ever been like just like this crazy tattoo that you ever done, or something that sticks out into your mind that's like the most memorable?
Uh, Crazy tattoo. I don't know. I've done a lot of tattoos, man. Like they're all kind of unique and cool in their own way. I remember this one girl, she came in and she wanted to get, it was her 18th birthday, and the inside of her lip, she wanted to get "fuck you." And I was like, okay. That one always, I was, and it was her first tattoo. I was like, whatever. But a lot of the stuff I do is more like large scale Japanese stuff, kind of like I have on my arm, like,
Mm.
dragons and koi fish and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy, but fun, classic, lots of stories behind them, lots of symbolism and meaning.
So, where do dragons and Japanese art, like, how did that become popular?
So there's a legend in Japan that there's this river called Longmen Falls, and koi fish, they swim up it
Mhm.
every year, and millions of them. And the legend is that all these koi are trying to get to the top of the mountain. And if one of the koi, when it gets to the top, is able to leap over the waterfall, which is called Dragon's Gate, the gods reward the koi for its perseverance to fight to get to the top by transforming it into a dragon. So it's kind of a symbol. All these people are kind of in the rat race, fighting their way for success in life and good fortune, and to be at their highest level. And a dragon, it kind of symbolizes the epitome of that in Japanese and Chinese culture. So you have a koi fish kind of fighting, going up the current, and then you have a dragon. It's just a kind of a symbol of achieving success in life and fighting for that every day.
So, Japanese art and dragons, though, has also heavily influenced Westerners.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I mean, again, getting ink on their arms. So, where do you think that happened from? Like, where do you think there was a connection? Like,
I'll tell you exactly where it happened from. It
sure.
happened from U.S. naval soldiers or Navy officers, whatever you want to call them, sailors, going over to Japan and getting these tattoos while they were in Japan on shore leave, coming back with these beautiful, elaborate, cool dragons or whatever in that style. And then people here seeing that and being like, oh, that's so cool. Ed Hardy, who most people know him for the clothing line, but actually Ed Hardy is kind of like the godfather of tattooing. Him and Sailor Jerry, he would go over to Japan and bring a lot of that knowledge back here and started doing a lot of their style of art and exposing people to it through magazines and pictures and stuff. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. There's a lot of symbolism behind it. So I think that's why it's been popular now for thousands of years.
No, that's incredible. And that makes sense, right? I mean, a lot of this influence came from our servicemen going to different countries, experiencing a different culture, and then coming back and bringing it to our shores.
Yep.
Definitely. Now, you also have a new company that you started during this whole kind of COVID pandemic called Tattshoos.
Tattshoos, yeah.
Tattshoos.
Yeah. It's basically shoes that I tattoo. I got a pair right here. I'll hold it up so you can see it. These are Tattshoos. They're hand painted by myself. Each pair is one of a kind, made for the wearer. They're fully custom, just like a tattoo. You can get whatever you want. If I can paint it, I'll do it for you. And they're pretty cool. They've been really taken off. I started doing it during the pandemic when I wasn't able to tattoo, and I was kind of going stir crazy like everyone. I was like, oh, let me just paint on a pair of shoes just for fun. And I posted it up on social media and got a big reaction to it. You know, those are so cool. How much? I want one. I was like, how much? Oh, wow, you'll pay for it? Okay, cool. Sold a couple pairs right off the bat, and then it just kept going and going. And now it's become a full-fledged business. I just partnered with ePlay and Howie Mandel. He's got a new app called Howie's Games that's coming out. And you can basically run around and chase Howie around and attack him with hand sanitizer and stuff. But there's different clothes you can wear in the game. So you'll be able to wear Tattshoos in the game and download them as an NFT, and also purchase the physical pairs so you can wear them around.
So now what do you paint the shoes? Like what kind of paint? Like
I use a waterproof acrylic paint. So they're fully washable. You can wear them in the rain, not have to worry about the shoe getting washed off. Yeah, acrylic paint holds up really well. And I tested them. I went on a few hikes and then threw them in the washing machine, and they still look good.
So they look like, are they slip on, like kind of a van
Yep,
type
Vans.
of shoe? Vans,
Exactly.
they're Vans.
Yeah, yeah, slip on canvas shoes. Super comfortable, easy to get on. Don't have to waste time tying your shoes.
So that is a Van shoe, right? So basically Van they don't own that style of shoe. Is that right? Vans, they don't own
There's
that.
tons of different styles of canvas shoes. Basically, you could give me any kind of shoes you want, and I'll paint on them for you. But when you just buy like a custom pair for me, I do them on this because the canvas looks the best, and also there's just more area to draw on the front and the sides. You can get more artwork rather if you had the laces on it.
So let me ask you this. Is that like a Van shoe without the label?
Yeah, it's my own brand of canvas shoes called Tattshoos. It's just like Vans, but it's
Right.
not.
But what I mean is, so, but the shoe itself
Mhm.
is literally like the same design as Vans without the.
It's slightly different. I mean, like the curves here and in the back are different, but it's essentially a Van shoe.
And the reason why I'm asking that is because there's a lot of people that actually like that slip-on Van type of shoe.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you wouldn't know that it's not Vans unless I was
Right.
like, it looks almost exactly the same. It's not, but it is.
Right. Totally. Now, so now are you back in action now? Like as far as, I mean, tattooing, is your studio open?
Oh yeah, now it's back to full blown and it has been for the last year. Right when everything got lifted, it was just like boom, everyone wanted to get tattooed, and it's going strong and it's good.
So any cool people that you worked on that just randomly popped in? You're like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I've been tattooing a lot of cool people. I've tattooed Stephen Piercy, the singer from Rat. I just tattooed Stu Ham from Joe Satriani's band. Lots of different guys, but everyone that comes in that always has like a cool story and a reason for getting the tattoo that they're getting, and it's not always what you think it would be. So it's just cool to just talk to people and hear why they're getting this artwork on their body, and kind of make it happen for them is a cool thing.
Now, do you find, everything comes in kind of waves. So do you think like the new generation with tattoos, do you find that as popular as the previous generation? Is it the same? Calm down more?
I think tattoos have always been, I shouldn't say always, but tattoos are popular. What types of tattoos at a certain time, or depends on just like music. Like in the 90s, it was grunge, and then it was, the 80s, you had like the new wave kind of synth pop shit. Back in the 90s, like tribal tattoos were super cool, and now they're not anymore, but they were. And now the fingers and the face little tattoos are cool, or like the super intricate thought work tattoos that are like really small. It's like almost not even having a tattoo. That's what's cool. But one of the reasons I really like Japanese style tattoos is through all of this, it's always been cool. It's always been popular. Before it was even over here, for thousands of years, it's been in Japan, the full body suits, telling the stories. And it's timeless. That's why I like it. It always looks good. It's not a passing fad, so to speak.
I'm trying to think of when I was like a little kid, the tattoo that I remember
Mhm.
as being most popular. And I think it was like a rose.
Mhm. Yeah, roses are classic. Those are always cool. And like the whole Pam and Tommy show's out right now. So she had that barbed wire
Bar.
armband in the 90s, and like then every girl wanted to get that. Or the tramp stamp was popular for a while, and now it's like, oh, tramp stamp. So it's it's always good to, at least in my opinion, to not follow a trend, because it might be cool for that fleeting moment, but 10 years from now, is it still going to be cool? You're really going to want SpongeBob on you? I say to get something that's like timeless, and it's always going to, look cool and not be a trend.
Yeah. And as you said, like tattoos, I think are truly like a mystery, the way people react to them. I mean, and what I really think is kind of cool, people always expect young people to get tattoos. Like everyone expects, like if you're in college or, hey, but what I really find that's cool, I mean, there was like an instance where I know I'm friends with this guy in his 60s,
Mhm.
and he never had a tattoo. I never noticed it. And one day I met him and I saw like a big tattoo on his forearm. And for a minute, I'm like, wait, am I like, what's going on? Because I just wouldn't expect. But he's like, yeah, he's like, listen, I mean, I got a tattoo and I always wanted one. And so I think it's always cool when someone later in their life commits.
Absolutely. And I have a number of clients like that. It's like, I feel like you're talking about one of them right now. I had this client, he's an executive at JP Morgan, powerful banker guy. And I did his first tattoo. He's in his 60s. I think he was like 62, 63, around there. And we did a koi fish on his arm, and he was like, oh, that's all I'm going to get. And now the other day, I just did his like 8th tattoo. I've done both arms, top, bottom, his back. I just did a bird on his chest a couple weeks ago, and he's loving it. For a lot of these guys, it's like I think it's their cool thing to do. They're not going out to the bar and partying. It's like this is how they're expressing themselves and living. And I think you make better decisions on the art too when you're, a little bit more mature, and you can also afford better artwork. You're not just like, you know, eating ramen and then trying to go get tattooed. And what can I get for $30? And like, nothing, kid, get out of here.
Yeah. And you know what? And at that point, when you're 60, you're definitely not going to regret it or saying, or it will be more meaningful. Getting a tattoo when you're 60. I mean, if you haven't figured yourself out what you like and what you don't like at 60, I mean, consider
Right.
you only have maybe 20 years left on earth. But absolutely.
Yeah.
That'll probably be me. I'll probably get a tattoo when
Good
I'm
way
70.
to do it too. And it's like, yeah, you definitely won't regret it. You'll know what you want. And yeah, you're more set in who you are. I always say too, it's like what you think is cool when you're 17 is probably not going to be as cool when you're, a grown man or woman. So
No, absolutely. I mean, right. Taste change. We
yeah,
grow, we evolve, our thinking change, perspective changes, values change. And, you're just getting that tattoo in a small snapshot in time,
right.
very small.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to outgrow that time. And like looking back at it. So now, how much do those tattoos cost, by the way? Like if you want to order a pair, how much do they
Oh,
cost?
Tattshoos. So a custom pair like this one that I have would go for 375. But I'm also in the process right now. I teamed up with a company that I'm going to have limited edition ones that aren't hand painted, but they are my designs printed on, and those will be 250. So a little bit more affordable, but not as custom as the one of one that you would get.
And where can you find those?
I have a website. It's called tattshoos.com. It's TATTSHOOS, like tattoos and shoes, but combined. Tattshoos.com. You can go on there. I have a bunch of them up. You can check out all the designs. You can message me and chat directly, and we can come up with like a perfect custom thing for you. Or if you see something you like in the limited edition section, you can just get one of those and have them ready to go.
And where is your studio located on the East and West Coast? And what's the name of it?
So I'm the owner of CNT,
CNT.
Tattoo and Microblading. And I have locations here in Sherman Oaks, California, as in Los Angeles, and Montauk, New York, which is all the way out east on Long Island, a couple hours outside of New York City. I go in and I work in New York City as well. And I travel all over. I'm going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Las Vegas next week working. And then in a few months later, I'll be in Michigan, close to Detroit. So yeah, man, just tatting up America.
Tatting off America. I love it. And I mean, yeah, I know. Listen, I would love to come out to one of those studios one day and kind of see kind of how you work. But no, I mean, again, I mean, thanks for the talk, the discussion. Again, I just loved how the fact that you transitioned from music as a musician into a tattoo artist, and both cool lifestyles. And I mean, right, you're making your own personal statement. That's what's amazing about this. I mean, through music, you made a statement through your playing, through songs, and now through tattooing. I mean, right, you are bringing your own style, your own contribution to the world, and I love it.